Yeah, so uh, hello everyone, good evening and good afternoon where you are. So I think this is the hot topic about the CHFA certified Hyperledger Fabric Administrator, and I think people think is a kind of complex and tough exam. So same I feel because um, I appeared two times and I failed in first time, and even I don't have any answer why I failed because I thought I attempted the all questions correctly. In my view, all is correct. But when I appeared in the second time, and when I see the kind of type of question and kind of expectation from the exam, then I realized that what they are expecting from the any examiner. So this is a certificate generally you will get when you pass the exam, and this is valid for 3 years. You could see the criteria, and this is the badge actually. The actual certificate you will get via maybe in the mail communication via the PDF file, and this is the badge kind of which is issued by the your acclaim. And so this is a certificate. So because so before that I want to cover the some confidentiality and intellectual property ownership, because when you appeared for the any Linux Foundation certification and courses, then they will have some kind of confidentiality clause, and if you don't follow those things, then maybe your certificate or maybe your uh, validity of the certificate can be revoked. So I want to read it first because I don't want to be in trouble. So first, so Linus Foundation makes exams available to you slowly to test your knowledge of exam subject matter of which you seek certification. So you are expressly prohibited from disclosing, publishing, reproducing, or transmitting any exam and any related information, including without limitation questions. So I can't talk about the how many questions come and what was their answers, computations, drawings, diagrams, length of the number of exam segment, and even the number of questions. So that we can kind of I will just give the overview. Like suppose there will be around 15 to 20 questions, and it will vary on the or even the value appearing in the exam. It could be how 14, it could be how 20, it could be less. It depend on the because all the exam questions are generated automatically when you appear in the exam. So when you schedule your exam, then before 1 week the exam is created for you especially, and it's valid only for you. So whatever the terminal or whatever the environment you will see, this is only valid for you, and whatever the question you are getting is just only for you. The same, the question is generally not repeated. It could be repeated but different types or different kind of scenarios, but there is surety the whatever you are getting the question in exam will be from the Hyperledger Fabric and Hyperledger Fabric CA 1.4 release. There won't be any question outside the 1.4. For example, in the 2.0 there is a life cycle endorsement policy, so that will not come in the exam. And another, the examiner asking you to show you have a real production management experience. So maybe in the your read the docs on anywhere, you will just get the some kind of testing environment is running in the Docker environment, all the one machine. But in the exam, it could be running in the properly production environment, like running natively on any server, and you will need to log into that server and perform certain kind of tasks. Like for example, maybe they will ask you to install the particular chain code with particular version, and maybe update the chain code, or sometimes suppose sometime kind of playing with the ordering service, like suppose upgrading ordering service node, or maybe removing some ordering node, or can be added the new ordering, similar the kind of adding the new peer. So whatever the in the production environment you should have experience, you should have knowledge, that will be tested. And the another thing about the your clarity of the concept about the all the components. So there could be maybe there will be some kind of practical question, but it will be related to the actual concept of the uh, component, like why we need the fabric CA, and what are the different user, like there is a user in fabric CA like an orderer, peer, client, or admin. So all the role have a different roles and responsibilities in the fabric CA network, fabric CA. Then you need to be have kind of clear understanding why this particular role is there. And when you are creating and registering the new user, so what kind of this service and what they can do. This is very important to be appearing and kind of giving solving the fabric CA kind of question. And third important thing will be when you are attempting the question, so read the question carefully, because in the first attempt when I failed, I realized later when I come out of the exam, then I thought there will be a question to do that, but I did that. For example, suppose they ask you to install the chain code mycc, but I just followed the read the docs, because you can follow the read the docs in the exam. So you just copying the read the docs commands and the steps in the exam. So that's not as it is. Maybe they will ask you the simple different ordering TLS service name, maybe different port number, or even maybe the different chain code name. So that's why I failed in the first exam, because I just follow the blindly read the docs, and even don't read this. I just got like suppose a question like install chain code with this version number, and I just blindly follow the read the docs and run it command. So it will give the actual result, because the read the docs is correct, but the question was different. They asked you to solve the different or maybe install the different chain code, but you did differently. So that will be wrong. And there is not any human being validating your scores. There will be automated scripts. So whatever you are doing, it will be automatically scored by the some kind of automated program. So whether your question will be, your answer should be look like to correct to you, because it will give the correct response, like chain code installed successfully, chain code installed successfully, user registered successfully, user upgraded. You will get the correct message, but maybe they ask you to do the different thing. Like suppose they ask you to register the user with a type client, but you just user register by default maybe as admin. So you will get the response correctly, but when your that program script will run to validate your score, they will find it wrong, because they were accepting to register user as a client, not as an admin. So that could be wrong. So this thing. And another, don't try to be smart, like suppose don't try to copy as is it content from the fabricate the docs. If suppose maybe they have some kind of provider, some kind of environment variables, or some kind of TLS variables, so that you need to use, not the what is available in the read the docs. So even if you use the read the docs, that will work perfectly, because it will all the exam examiner terminal exam environment is based on the Hyperledger fabric read the docs only. But the name of the variable, name of the TLS port number or TLS certification could be different. But when you run the as it is command from the read the doc, then it could be seems correct to you, because it will give the correct output, like chain code instantiated successfully or chain code upgraded successfully. But it will be wrong when your script will evaluate the score, this thing. And another important I will want to mention about the strategy for the exam. So there could be different types of question and different scoring kind of marks of the question. So maybe there could be some question for 2 marks, or there so some question could be higher marks, maybe 20, maybe 15. So you need to decide, you want to attempt all question, or you want to attempt more higher marks question first, and then if time left you want to appear for the 2 number question or 3 number question. So that strategy and that flow is very important, because suppose like there is uh, 15 question will cover the 90 marks, and remaining 5 questions will cover the 4 questions. So you will happy to attempt the 90 marks rather than attempting 19 question with 70 marks, because maybe you will left the 15 or 20 marks question left. due to you follow the complete kind of you try to attempt all the question. And another people like think like 2 hours for the exam is not sufficient, but it's not truly, because I attempted my questions, all the 100-mark question within 2 hours. I have left my 15 minutes. So I think there is no any kind of time limitation and time boundation. Means if you have a proper practice and you following the proper standard, like I followed the uh, attempting the higher mark question first, and then attempting the lower mark question first. And another thing you can also consider about the type of question. So suppose there could be fabric CA question and fabric certificate fabric questions. And in the read the docs, we have a separate documentation. Suppose if you go to the uh, fabric read the docs, so this is the document. And always remember, is the 1.4 exam, so you need to point to the 1.4 release. So this is a separate document for fabric, and for the fabric CA there is a separate document for fabric CA, like this. And you will get the question for the both the fabric CA and fabric. So you need to be decide, like suppose, because what's happening in the exam, you can open only one uh, exam browser where your exam terminal is open. Another extra browser you can open the one kind of read the docs only. It could be only fabric CA, it could be only fabric. So maybe suppose if you follow suppose you open the fabric CA read the docs, and so then try to cover all the question related to fabric CA, because switching document and even the section, like suppose they will ask you to some kind of this question, and you are doing some kind of steps copying from here. Suppose like this, suppose you want to doing this thing, and and maybe after 2 3 question another fabric CA question come, and we will just here only. But suppose if you solving the fabric question, then you need to close that one, then coming again and search again this kind of section again. And another important thing, you need to well verse with the what is what is uh, what is there in the fabric did the docs. I mean, suppose if you want to ask you the question for the kind of attribute access control, so you should clearly know in which section it will be available. Like suppose it will be fabric CA, or suppose conferring LDF, so it will here, or suppose it will get some kind of fabric CA client. So what all kind of things are there and where, because you need to have very limited time there. And another thing, what if they ask you to don't do something, then first read the question clearly. Uh, Maybe like suppose they clearly mention don't do the kind of home variable set, or don't do the some kind of variable set. So they clearly mean they want to use their default settings and default path. So but suppose in the exam you either suppose here is asking you to set some kind of environment variable before. So, but in the exam, we no need to do this. And if we do this, then it will is incorrect, because maybe they have their client home set to some another path, and by the following the document we set it to wrong. So it will give the incorrect output. So maybe your question will wrong this thing. And so uh, following the kind of documentation and flow, uh, whatever they just said, follow that one. Like suppose their environment variables, their default path. And if you are solving the fabric CA question, so try to solve all fabric CA question at a time, because it will save your time to switching the between the document and between the searching the particular thing in the document. And so this will think, uh, and remembering and reading the question very carefully, because maybe they will ask you the particular version number, particular chain code name, and particular peer node, and particular TLS path. They will ask in the question carefully. So we can follow the document, but more we need to understand what they are asking. And if you know the correct thing without following the document, then do it. Otherwise, find in the document where it is. It you have time. But if you understand the document where it is, uh, which particular section, that particular task, like suppose they will ask you to kind of uh, run the raft server, maybe create the genesis block with the raft setting in the config gtx block, gtx file. So you should know what command and what kind of profile you need to give while creating the genesis block, and in which docker compose file it should be pointed. Thing is very important. So I think these are the, I think we should follow. But I think we could discuss uh, more in kind of interactive manner, because these are the, because about the question, what kind of question, what kind of, what questions come, that I can't answer as per the policy. It's clearly mentioned here, because session is recorded even I'm presenting the in the community. So this thing I can't, like, so even I can't mention about the length and number of exam segments, questions, or including oral communication regarding or related to exam. Another what I can say about the exam environment. So in the most of people are just using the VS Code or kind of Xcode or any kind of editor. But in the exam, you, everything you need to do only on the kind of Unix terminal. So you just need to use VI editor, Nano editor, or any kind of editor. So be comfortable with all these editors, because suppose if you change something in file, so how you will save it? Because even the most of people generally comfortable with the VS Code, and they don't aware how to play with these editors. So that is very important. And in the exam environment, every question have a proper separate exam environment. So follow clearly what they say. Let's suppose if you're solving one question and they ask you to leave that environment and go into the another environment, then be careful on that time. Because if you following the if you suppose logged into one particular node and doing some kind of task, and you never come out of that node, and you try to solve all your question there, then all your work is vanished, because the script is automated and they will check all the questions specific node and specific response. So maybe you attempt all question correctly in the one particular environment, but that environment is only for the one question, not for all the question. And another thing, the practice is very important. So whatever you do with the your first network or your any kind of your production network, like installing chain code, upgrading chain code, endorsement policy change, maybe adding the new organization, removing the organization, changing the block size, whatever you do, all the questions ex- absolutely coming in this manner. Like suppose they will ask you to add the new order in the system channel. So how you will do that in say 15 minutes, because in the exam you will get the kind of 5 to 10 minutes for every question. And if you doing you taking more than 20-30 minutes for this kind of question in your live environment or maybe your environment, then maybe you are not able to solve half of the questions. So practice is important. Okay, so how do you connect to your nodes? So if you go to the connecting node, so you just simply ssh to the particular node. And when you register for the exam, they will like this. So it's clearly mentioned. Its question could be 16 to 26, depending on the uh, uh, your luck. It could be 16, it could be 26. 2 hours. A result will be you will get just after one day. And another important, the someone at the exam control sign viewing you, and everything is automated. Even if you lose your eye control with your camera, then automatically your browser will be shut down, or maybe your exam will be stopped. So be careful about that one. And another, you have to use the only Chrome version only, Chromium only. Other versions not supported. And you can easily, and this is also important, how you can go to the particular node. So it's simply you can suppose if you want a kind of root privilege. It's all the even you need to follow when you read this file. And another thing, like maybe exam is running in browser only, so there's some such kind of commands or shortcuts, like suppose Control C and Control V, maybe close your browser like this. And if you technically suppose copying some command from the read the docs and directly done some kind of Control C and Control V. So try to avoid Control C and Control V command if you couldn't do that, because maybe by mistake, because you are handy with the Control C and Control V and control kind of command. So it could be stop your exam. Controls and Control V not running. So before appearing for the exam, try to familiar without using the Control C Control V such kind of shortcuts. Maybe just use the right click and left click of the your mouse, and using the VI editor or such kind of editor which you need to play like you are playing with Unix system. You don't have any kind of VS Code environment. And logging to the any node is simple, like suppose like this SSH, and go to the node they mention, and you will get there. So like this, simply like this. So everything is given here. And another thing also, like, so everything is running in Docker environment. But if they especially mention you go to the CLI, then only go to the CLI node. Means suppose you go to the SSH particular node. So this is a simple like SSH. This is one user for all the nodes. You just need to change the node name. But when you logged into the node, maybe there is one separate Hyperledger Fabric network running and CLI node running. So if they ask you to go to CLI and perform this task from the CLI, then only go to CLI. Then otherwise no need to go to CLI, because everything you could run without CLI also. So also try to import it. Try to figure out that what they mention in the question. They will mention you to go to the CLI, or you need to run the commands natively or steps natively on the your node, not on the CLI node. This one. And if you want some kind of root, then you can use the sudo I. And every time when you solve the question, you need to come out of that node and go to the your main node when the your exam started, and that is the node 1. So every question need to perform on the specific node. They will give the node number, like suppose node number 10. So always like fab SSH fab admin node 10, and you will go to there. And when you done particular task there, then come out of the node. So suppose you need to be comfortable how to come out of the from the node, like using the exit command, then come out. Even the like exit command from also, that suppose if you are in the CLI node on the particular node, and they you will just come out of the put the exit command. So you just come out from the CLI node, not from the your node. So you need to run the 2 times exit command. So that kind of your presence of mind is very important, because suppose there are a couple of questions to go to the CLI node, and you will go to CLI node, and you just came out of the CLI but don't actually come out of the node, and you are doing unknowingly wrong answers because you are not going to the specific node and not performing the task there. Okay, so another question. Where can we go back? Is it okay? Yeah, is a paid certification. You could apply on the Linux Foundation itself. So in the Hyperledger website, you could apply there. Or is it, yeah, is it paid certification? There would be, also already answered by the client. What happens if you disconnect while giving the exam? Yeah, that is also very important question. And because due to some network connectivity, maybe your power gone, or maybe you accidentally you maybe close your browser. So directly go to the same link from where you connected to the exam, and then just refresh it. It automatically connected to the exam, and then the proctor will admit you. Can you open file.txt as a draft outside the browser and copy from it? No. So you can't use the other than browser. You need to do everything on the browser only. Okay, it's already, you need to use, you need to go to the browser and the window. Okay, any more question? I think we can make it interview, we can discuss about it.
Hello, Kamlesh. Thank you so much for your time, and I totally agree with you. Whatever you have said, I already appeared in the exam and I failed. I'm Mulchankar here.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. Yes, we have to check whatever you have said. Exactly what we mean. This will help definitely for the people. I have one question. Suppose for any reason, because you did mistake and you install the chain code maybe with the wrong version or maybe with the wrong name. So what exactly we should do in that situation? Should we reinstall again with the right name, or what is your thoughts on it? Maybe by mistake I did with the wrong name or wrong version. So in
Yeah.
that
Yes.
situation, what should be
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, same. So same actually I did in the exam when I passed it. So actually they asked me to install some chain code, but I installed with a different name, and it was successful, and I get the correct response. But when I read the question carefully, then I thought they asked me to, the chain code number was different. So I did the again, means again install the new chain code and just give it. But I don't know, because I got 84% and attempted 100%. So don't know that my approach was wrong or right, because 16 marks I lost. So where the 16 marks I don't know. But what I did, I just read the question again. I again restore the chain code with the name they mentioned, and like that. Okay, so Chandra, in the mention course content exam. Okay, so yeah, so if you don't want to want a course content, there's just the $300 examination fees. Training material. So I think when you go with the course content plus exam, then you will get some kind of course content. But I think everything is even the fabric. Read the docs. No need to be. I think I'm not sharing my screen, right? I think I'm not sharing my screen. So everything on the read the docs. You no need any external kind of course content, course material. If you follow this kind of all the things in the fabric and fabric read the docs, then it's sufficient. But the thing, you need to have practice, because Even initially when I appear in the exam, so I thought, because I was mentoring the production network in my company, so I thought I know everything. And actually I know everything on that time. But I was, because everyone can't remember the complete commands for the kind of 10 to 15 lines, and for the name you need to follow the document. And I was facing difficulty to find the particular thing in the document. Like suppose they ask me to change some kind of fabric CS server config YML file. But even if I try to find the file now, I will face difficulty. Where is my fabric? Uh, Suppose I want to fabric CS server config file to edit it. So where I can get it? So even I'm facing difficulty now. So in the exam, in the kind of pressure, how you will get that thing? So like suppose even I'm not getting where is the file now. Suppose I want to change something in the fabric C server config file. So where that file available in the document, so I can refer what's thing correct and what's thing wrong in my exam file and in the actual file. And in the exam, I wasted around 10 minutes to find that resource, that file in the this read the docs, and I lost my time in first time when I appeared in the exam. So uh, what the resource and what the kind of content, like suppose fabric CA client. So fabric CA client, there are suppose different many questions like enrolling, register. So what the when I want, suppose I get the question for enrolling the identity. So where should I look it at first time? First time. So like I should directly go to here, and I could get the this command very in front of me in just 30 seconds, not at the more than 30 seconds. If you try to get this in 1 minute, 2 minutes, then I think you are half of the time will be wasted to find the particular thing in the document. Okay, questions again. Okay, yeah, you will get the free retake. Okay, so it means giving exam for the first time to get familiar. So I don't think say we should give. Yeah, so I think because now suppose we have a kind of better understanding what was the exam environment and how it looks like. So now I think no need to be appear for the exam to just understand the environment. But now suppose now you understand, like there is a couple of questions with some high marks, some low marks, and there could be some fabric here question, there could be some kind of fabric question. You need to log into the specific node for the specific question. So you know the environment and how you log in. I think they clearly mention in the document, like you need to log in this way. So you know it now. But suppose you don't read this kind of, suppose there's a proper handbook in the exam when you register for the exam. So read it carefully about the environment, like about suppose this thing, which particular port number, which commands you should not use, and what is there, control C, control V not working. And suppose like here they mention about the some exam environment, where you will be your all configuration files will be here. Yeah, so Kent is right. Theoretically, all question will be uh, coming from the read the logs only. So, but the practice and the what thing available. So it's kind of open book exam, but you should know in the book what the thing are where, and it's not exactly as it is. Suppose they ask you to run this command, so you need to bit changes as per the your question. Like suppose they will maybe ask you to install the different identity name, maybe PR5, or maybe they will ask you to kind of the different port number, or suppose you registering any, suppose registering new identity, for example, if you get this question. So it's a bit complex. So understanding this is very important, like why, what is this affiliation means, and what is this department means, and what is attributes, and what is this means, and what is this. So everything, understanding the question. And maybe for example here you will maybe not see all the attribute used, maybe in the next command some attribute being used, like this. So combining this in the one command, so you should know what it actually mean by the particular command, particular attribute, particular type of the identity. That is important. Okay. What is the longest amount of the time that Kamlesh spent on one question in the recent successful attempt? So, so, uh, so when I so just 15 minutes, because there will be some there were one question maybe more than 10 marks, and for attempting, obviously each question is really rushed. Yeah, but actually, so suppose when you were appearing in the exam, when you thought like suppose you so frankly speaking, when I attempt my first question in the exam, I spend my 15 minutes to just install the chain code, and I thought, yeah, I'm not able to just 3 to 4 mark question. I'm taking 15 minutes. Then how I will solve the 100 mark question? But when the your flow set, when you just going, so uh, so in the 1 hour, I just able to solve the 5 question, and then remaining 1 hour, in less than 1 hour, I attempted all the question, and with the confidence that all the my questions which I attempted is correct, and I was sure about I will get more than 80 marks, and I got it. Did Kamlesh use Tmux or screen for multiplexer? What is this? What is Tmux or
Oh,
screen?
okay. In the candidate handbook, it says that each candidate may need to use a multiplexer. So, for example, if you run Docker in your single screen, then it will take up the whole screen, and you don't have a bash terminal to run a second command.
No, no, yeah,
You
yeah.
understand?
So, but I didn't do. I just use the one terminal only, and I'm doing it in there only.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So we have about 20 minutes left. So I think, Kamlesh, you pretty much good to receive questions from the
Yeah.
audience. So let's ask, if you want to ask a question with your microphone, please put your name in the chat box, and then I will go and unmute you. So I think this is a nice way to queue the questions. Feel free to ask everything you want to know, because this is, okay, here we go. Posh. Okay, Posh, please unmute your microphone.
Hey, hi. First of all, I want to thank Kamlesh for such a great and informative session. I wanted to ask that, Hyperledger has introduced CHFD this year, the developer's certification.
Mhm.
So, from a developer standpoint, would it be good to go for CHFA, or should I be going for CHFD, or both of them?
So suppose if you're a developer, then I think I will recommend go with the CHFD. But CHFD is also difficult because in the exam you need to suppose they will ask you to write the particular smart contract particular function, and you need to write it on the VS Code. There, I think there is a VS Code available in the CHFD. And what I know, I think when the Fabric contributor who are writing the Fabric SDK, they failed in the exam.
Yeah, it's true. I know quite a few
Yeah,
core contributors who actually write the code for Fabric who have failed. So
yeah,
this exam is easy for Kamlesh, but for most mere mortals, it's actually quite difficult.
yeah, really. So actually, there is a
So I want to, sorry, Kamlesh, I want to ask, point you to Rohit Sundik's question. Do you have to be familiar with Node.js 2?
for CHFA, no.
Okay. And then now Saicharan Pogol, is there any progress status as we keep executing each command one by one?
Uh,
There is a flag system, as far
yeah,
as I know. Uh, there is no real-time assessment or feedback for you in
yeah,
the
correct, correct.
exam. You go through each question one by one, up to you in any order, and then there's a choice where if
But
you
it's
are happy with your answer, then you can flag it and then you can either go back to it or leave it. So it's a way for you to mark the questions that you either want to go back to or you are completely satisfied and never want to go back to.
Okay. And some question from the Archana. Do we need to remember the commands? I think no need to read the remember the command, because you can follow this document. So there is everything is there, but how to connect and what they're asking, and because not necessarily all the things will be in the same command. Like suppose if you see here, maybe it will some bit information here, and they will need some more information, kind of new parameter need to edit. So you need to be understanding about the fabric concept, then some kind of practice. Third will be well versed with the traversing with the this documents, what things are where and where we can look it into it, and running maintaining some kind of production network. For example, suppose you if you face any error, because in the exam you also get some kind of question where you need to fix the error of the particular network and rectify it. First need to find out and then rectify it. So if you didn't have any kind of experience, face any error in your real time, then maybe you will face difficulty in the exam because you're not aware about the situation. Suppose you will get some kind of, suppose your chain code is not instantiated correctly. Why is not correctly instantiated? So you should face this kind of kind of issues in the your environment, so you could easily figure out why this is not instantiated and I where I will fix, so it will solve. Okay.
Some more questions, please. Keep going. We welcome all questions. So I just want to make a point about the differentiation between CHFD and CHFA. So A is obviously the administrator and D is a developer. So CHFA exam is run in the bash command line in the Linux terminal. There is no VS Code, there is nothing else. So in the CHFD, however, you cannot get the bash terminal. You can't run anything in a bash terminal. Everything is run in VS Code, as far as I know. So in the developer exam, you need to, it's absolutely essential, you're familiar with running, not only writing the code in VS Code, but also running the commands in the VS Code terminal.
Correct.
And the value of the course, of the exam itself, of the certification. So CHFA has a particular value because if a company wants certification as a certified Hyperledger provider of fabric services, the company needs 3 certified administrators. So let's say Kamlesh's company is wants to be certified by Hyperledger. His company needs to have 3 people who are actually possessing the certification. So Kamlesh is 1, and then the companies needs 2 more. Now CHFD does not have this privilege. CHFD has nothing to do with a company's certification. However, it doesn't mean it's worthless or valueless, because if you go online and search for a job, it's very rare you see anybody asking for the CHFA qualification in particular. However, a lot of jobs do say that you need to know how to write Hyperledger Fabric, smart contracts, chain code. So obviously the developer's role is mainly to do with chain code and how to run the chain code. So that's another differentiation.
And actually that's my motive to be appearing, because actually we are trying to become the Hyperledger member and we want to be have a Hyperledger certified service provider. And that's the motive our founder, our investor are kind of taken interest to appear in the exam, and then that's why I appear in the exam. And my kind of motive to pass, even if I didn't pass in this attempt, I will try to reattempt, because I need it.
Okay, now for the next question by Sai Charan. Which order do you take them? CHFA, then CHFD, or vice versa? What do you think, Kamlesh, now that you have the first one?
I think it depends on your role. Suppose if you are a developer, then go with the CHFD. And suppose if you are suppose architect or kind of maintaining your servers or about your blockchain network, fabric network, then go with CHFA, because both are different roles and responsibilities in terms. In CHFA, you are maintaining your blockchain network, fabric network. In CHFD, you will understand and can prove your and of things like you have a developer understanding. You can write the smart contract in different, and even there's a, but a lot of people job profile ask both. Okay, that I'm not aware. Okay, people, even I think in the, I think job marketing even not people asking for the certification. If you have a certificate, then is more value to you. But you know,
Yeah.
I only couple of companies I know where they were asking for certification, but not. And I think this is just preferred. It's not like suppose AWS certification. They will only hire the AWS certified people or Azure certified people only for the particular job. But yeah, in the future, maybe when there could be many blockchain developer, blockchain administrator, then they maybe they can put the condition by the companies like maybe client. Only the certified people can work on my client project.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think that will
Okay, let's
upgrade?
open the floor to more
Yeah,
questions.
I think
Sorry.
it's, I think work is going into upgrade the examination, but don't know it will when it will update it. But I think if you want to appear, so appear now, because when we will added the 2.0, then there's more complexity will being added.
Yeah.
Suppose 6 months down the line the 2.0 added, then maybe then you are the first people will appearing for the that exam, and maybe the question will take more time, or maybe even the exam who set the exam also not aware like how much time it will taken. Like in CHFD they will just given you 3 hours when they launch the exam, because they're not sure
Hmm.
how much time it will take. That's what people-
Well, the certificate actually uh, is lasts 3 years. So Kamlesh will need to retake the exam in 3 years'
yeah,
time in 2023, and presumably it will be 2.2 by then,
yeah, right,
or more, or further, or or more.
yeah. But it will valid for 3 years. If you pass with
Yeah,
1.4, it will valid for 3 years, and 3 years maybe on that time maybe the 4.0, 5.0 fabric will running.
yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. So I have some interesting and funny and disastrous stories to tell about my exam. So in my exam, I made some serious mistakes. Okay. Now, it was not a fabric technical mistake. It was actually the console problems. So first of all, I asked Kamlesh about Tmux on screen because I use screen as a multiplexer in order to have more than one screen inside the browser window. And there is uh, confusion when you type a certain uh, key combination that will lock your keyboard. So there is a function where if you do Control A and then small x, it will lock your keyboard. Now, why did I make this mistake? It's because Control A capital X actually kills the screen. So what I did, I finished one of the questions, and then I'm pretty sure I pressed Control A Shift X, but my little finger must have slipped off the shift and I pressed small x instead. And it was a disaster because it locked my screen. I could absolutely do nothing. It asks you for a password, and obviously it's an exam. You don't know the password,
Okay,
right?
so okay. Actually, what I did, I even didn't use the keyboard at all. I just used the mouse, right click, left click, and I no control C, no control V, any command, because what happened in the I also faced similar kind of, even my colleague appeared in the first time,
Hmm.
and accidentally he closed everything. Her exam is stopped,
Yeah, me too.
and I think and she waited for half an hour, or even she called me in between like, Kamlesh, my exam is stuck. I'm not able to log in back. My
Yeah,
counter is running.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so better if you can manage with the your uh, avoid the controls to any kind of control or alt command for the
yeah,
exam. Try to familiar with
absolutely.
the right click, left click. I use the both. I only use the right click, left click.
Yeah,
When I have some, suppose I'm just copying command and I just some updating something, then I just use the command, the keyboard only. But
exactly.
pasting
So,
command, copying commands only via the red and right click.
okay, now the second disaster was that you have a base terminal called Node 1. Okay, so if you uh, finish one of the questions, you typically type exit, EXIT, right? To exit the question terminal to move on to the next one. I got so hyped up, I typed exit twice, and I actually exited the exam terminal, the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So this was another disaster. Okay. And then the third disaster was that I got so stuck, I actually, my screen froze, right? The actual
Hmm.
exam question terminal, the SSH terminal actually froze. So what did you do? You know, so the exam proctor, the person watching you, is not an expert in Fabric. That person will have probably will have no experience with Fabric whatsoever, right? They have a list of things they can do, and one advice I can give to you now: if you ever get stuck, tell the examiner, I want to reboot the console.
Yeah, and can actually even it also happened with me also, because
Oh,
when I
really?
actually, so actually what happened, I suppose I try to check the logs of the one particular
Hmm.
component running,
Yeah,
and then there is a, then how you will come out from that thing, because
exactly.
you need to use the control C to come out of the log, right?
That's right.
And I fear like maybe I will use the control C and I will, my browser will close. So what to do then?
Exactly. What did
So
you do?
So, but I did control C, but it didn't, my browser not close on that time. So not sure, because that is very critical thing. So when you appear, so just be presence on mind on that time and don't be fear, because uh, so I was trying to see the log, and somehow some log is showing like, suppose I've been some kind of system ctl logs. You will uh, uh, you will see the logs, and log will come flow coming,
Hmm.
and you want to come out,
Yeah.
then you can't do the control C and control come out.
Well, how did you do it then?
So I said I use the control C and I come out. Don't know, but that is
Okay.
really important.
That's why you need a multiplexer. Sometimes with a multiplexer, that software gives you more than one screen. And if one half of your screen is running something that you cannot exit, theoretically, you can close it with a multiplexer, theoretically. Okay, so that's one possibility that I would do.
And
So keep going.
and also about the exiting the node. So that is also because suppose if you go into one node and then go into some CLI,
Yeah,
so on that time you need to do the two times the exit.
exactly.
But if you are not, you are presence of mind, and maybe suppose you just go to the node,
Yeah,
you run command only and not going to the CLI,
yeah.
but you remember like every time you need to do a two time exit, so it will mess up. So be there, and presence of mind very important.
Yes, yes. So to answer the question from Ravi Vasagam, it was a disaster. Yes, time was not extended. The clock will continue to run, no matter if there's a nuclear war, you lose internet connection, you die, whatever happens, right? The clock still runs.
Yeah, correct. And even the proctor can't help. Suppose when I faced that, I checked log and he stuck there, how to come out. I asked proctor to help me.
Yeah,
So he said, I have no any technical experience to do
exactly,
that. I don't know.
exactly.
So I wasted my 5 minutes. So how to come out? Because I'm scared I can't use the control C, control
That's
V here.
right. That's right. You were stuck. I was stuck for 15 minutes. I closed everything because I got really frustrated. And then I even closed my browser window. And if you do that, I quickly went back into the whole starting the exam process, connecting with the examiner. So I got so stuck, I had no idea what to do. So I actually closed my browser window in order to, I was thinking, oh, if I close everything, maybe they can restart everything. But no, what happened was that I closed my browser window. I went back in to the examiner and say, please connect me back to the exam. And I was in the exact place with the exact problem, still locked out of my screen. So don't do that. Don't try it, because I tried it and you don't get anywhere. So
Yeah, correct.
what the solution was in the end, okay, well, the solution was to go to the top right-hand corner, and there are some options, and I chose to reboot the console. There's two options. One is to restart the console, and one is to reboot. Now, I was running out of time. I was really stressed out, so I didn't waste time restarting it. I thought, oh my God, this is the nuclear option. Just reboot it. And it took a lot of minutes, so you lose a lot of time, but eventually it went back to a usable uh, terminal, back to normal.
Yeah. And don't try to reboot your main node. They clearly mention. So even suppose here, even they suppose he mentioned here.
That's right. Don't do sudo reboot or sudo whatever, you know.
like this.
Yeah.
Or I think
Mhm.
Kent, I think your question answer here.
Yes. Yes.
Only a single terminal console is available
Yes.
during the exam.
That's right.
Similar aspects such as
I'm sure you used one. You must have used one. No?
no, I didn't use. So,
Oh, okay.
but
That's very
maybe
interesting.
my practice is so fast, so I attempted. So clearly, my exam is completed before 15 minutes, and even the
Yeah,
controller
that is
asked me.
amazing.
Yeah, controller asked me, Kamlesh, you have 15 minutes remaining. So I said I have done. So so then still
Amazing.
then what I did, the question which I have doubt. Okay, suppose it could be wrong. So I just go to check that again in 15 minutes. I check 3 4 question again and verified it via the checking the logs, via checking their status. So I think practice is the key.
Yeah. So, Kamlesh, there's one last question. So the Saicharan Pogel is asking about how beneficial is TLF e-learning. I have no idea what that is. Do you know what it
TLF
is?
is what? No, I didn't know.
Okay.
Saichan, we can open Saichan to talk about.
Okay, let's open Sidechan for a chat. Let's try and find, here we go. Okay, Sidechan, unmute your microphone, please.
Okay. I think he's saying that TLF is the Linux Foundation. TLF, the Linux Foundation.
Okay. So I was saying earlier in the chat box, the official documentation, official course training material is called LFS 272, right?
Yeah.
Now that material, it says very clearly, is not tailored specifically for the exam. It's merely to help you get off the ground, learn how to start and write your first fabric network, but it is not specifically tailored for the exam. So, whether you want to buy it or not, it's up to you, but it's not specifically for the exam.
Okay. So in the last, I want to just give my conclusion. What my strategy. So because I felt,
Yes,
so I
yes.
was very depressed
We
because
want to know this.
yeah. So I was very depressed because I thought I'm the VP of blockchain and mentoring my production servers in my company, and I do many things in the Fabric. Even when Fabric announced in 0.6 earlier, I was part of IBM. I was using the Fabric since 2016. So it was actually not good for me to fail in the exam. So then what I did, I will just first properly define the strategy. Like there should be always try to attempt the higher mark question first. And suppose there could be 2 marks and 3 mark question. So leave it. If you get time in the last, do it. Otherwise, because suppose if you leave 2 marks question for 4 questions, you just lose the 8 marks and you will attempt the 92 marks. So leave that one. And another thing, when reading the question, try to give the 15 seconds to the question itself. No need to hurry. Like suppose they ask you to install chain code and just jump into the terminal, because maybe they have a little more information. Like suppose in the bottom where they write that note, you no need to set the environment path. You no need to use this is not TLS set. So that is very important, because suppose they mention this is no need to use the TLS, but if you use it, your question is wrong. That thing. And another thing, practice is very important, and traversing the document. So what I did in the last 15 days before the exam, I try to run the first network and all the Fabric C operations every third day. Means in the week 2 to 3 times. All the things, like suppose installing chain code, upgrading chain code, removing and adding block, and adding configuration block, adding node, adding organization, register, enroll, revoke, all kind of things daily for 15 days. I maybe attempted more than 10 times all the things which will come in the exam.
Can I ask you, did you specifically look at the syllabus?
No.
So you went just with the documentation tutorials, with the flow. Okay.
Yeah, the flow. Like suppose suppose there is a Fabric CA. So how to run the Fabric CA? Suppose you need to run the Fabric CA server, then client, and then all these steps. So I attempted all these 3 things, complete document every alternate day. spending 2 3 hours, 2 3 hours, and for 15 days, and then I think that's why actually I have more than enough time in the exam, and even the after exam I have confidence. I will definitely going to get the more than 80 marks.
Okay, I think that answers Manank Patni's question. What are some mock drills? So I think Kamlesh's answer is just to go through all the tutorials and examples regularly, a lot.
Yeah, because there is no any mock drill. I think, but I think from the CHFA there should be some kind of mock environment should be given like AWS and other exam providers give, and
Yeah, but
and
they
that's
don't.
why people are facing more challenges because their first attempt will be go west because of that one, because they are not aware about the environment and what's actual question.
Exactly. Right. We're running out of time, so Kamlesh, can you do me a favor? Go to the chat box. Mulshankar has put in a link to his LinkedIn exam
Yeah,
experience. So can you just open that page for me in the chat box, the LinkedIn page? Can you see it?
yeah, I'm going.
Okay, open it in your screen to show everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because
I would
because
like.
actually I read it, and even you give me some kind of motivation to me, like kind
Mhm.
of Shankar can fail in the exam, then there is no any shame to be failed by me.
Exactly. So I would refer everyone to Mulshankar's article here in LinkedIn about his experience in the
Yeah,
exam
correct.
recently. And we've run out of time. So unfortunately, I can't take any more questions. I'm going to give the last word to Mulshankar, and then we're going to end the session.
Yeah,
So Mulshankar, your last comment to you.
Yes, thank you, Ken. Thank you, Kamlesh, for nice experience. Yes, I shared this article because I was also suffering that what will be the exam, how will be the environment, and few things. Definitely, I haven't shared the confidential things, and even we should not do as per the
yeah,
policy, and it's unethical. But I have mentioned what exactly should be done. Yes, it's as you say, documentation is the best place. And one more thing, personally I face. I was practicing a lot. I did lot of things. I even in the last day, one mistake I did. I was not able to find the right time for my schedule. That's why I mentioned here it's a 10 p.m. So I found that Sunday 10 p.m. because of my office assignments. I take very late. So whole day I was practicing. So this is also one of the mistake. I will say that go with a fresh mind. I believe me, exam is not as per my understanding, exam is not that hard, but the way we are managing the time management is the key. Yes, exactly, we should go with the means of the high marks for question first, and these things, time management is the key. I shared my experience that might help all of you guys. Hopefully we will try, and we give motivation to even Kamlesh, you said that I passed in the second attempt, then it gives me the motivation. Otherwise I was heartbroken, means I was feeling broken. That see, maybe it's because I did I last half an hour and I was talking to proctor. He was trying to do skip this question except. So anyway, we should learn from our failure as well. Thank you so much for your time, and
Yes, we
thank
want
you,
to thank
Kent.
Kamlesh for
Mm.
coming to talk today, and we want to congratulate him on being the first person in the study circle to pass the CHFA exam.
yeah,
Exactly.
Well done, Kamlesh.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think
So
and
thanks
he
everyone for
got the
coming.
role of in Hyperledger also. Congratulations in Hyperledger India. Congrats for that
Yes. Oh,
as
yes.
well.
Wonderful. Co-host of
Exactly.
Hyperledge India.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So thank you, everyone. We will have some more discussion next Saturday, same time, same place. Thanks for coming. See you again. Goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye bye.
Bye. Have a